This is part 2 of the rack-mounted quiz tutorial, and I'm just going to pick up from where we left off last day. This is what we've got so far. We've been working on the loader section of this interface, let's call it, keeping in mind this is what we're going to be creating here. All right, so we're working on this section here, and we've created this part. We've created the load button. So just remind you how that works. Load button is going to animate like this, move the card down into this AccuViewer here, which is going to illustrate whether or not the answer was true or false. So we've created this whole sort of panel region here, which I'm calling the loader. We've created this back portion here with the screws. We've created this front portion here with the resistors and the little plaque and the screws. We've created the load button and the on button, which is just a graphic. It's not going to do anything. We've also created this slot here. So what I think it's time to do is to create the card that's going to slide through here. And keep in mind that the way we set this up is this region, which we're calling the bracket. I'll show you the front of the bracket is this, all right? And then there is the back of the bracket, which is this. So we'll be able to put the card in between these two right here. And so actually I'll start sketching that out. I'm going to use a stroke of 2 for now and just zoom back out. And so I'll be creating a card that will fit through there, and you'll see that it looks like it's already in the slot. So I just need to come up here and see how big it's got to be. So it's going to extend about half or maybe a third of its distance above this line. So let's just grab that, and I'm going to pull it up a certain amount. And this is going to come to something like that. Anyhow, would be its starting position. All right, and then when we move this, when we animate it, we'll be able to make it come down, and it'll slide down to there. Now it's actually going to have to slide down far enough that it overlaps the next region, which is the analyzer. It's going to happen here. I'll show you on this one. We'll make it go. All right, so it's going to slide down. It's going to have to fit, and I want a little bit of the head of the card to fit there, and I want this part to fit into here. Now, we haven't created this yet, but I'll build that, and I'll space it based on the size of the card. So I'm going to come back down here and have a look at the card. So I'm going to, in the end, I'm going to want it to be about there. I'd like it to be something to be there so that. I just want to see how high up I want it to be. Let's do this again. Where's the top of the card? Yeah, I want the top of the card to be down under this back panel a little bit with the bullets, so I get that view. So that's what I'm going to do. So something like that, maybe a little bit higher, something like that. And it's a little bit hit and miss. I'm just going to drag the card down and say, okay, maybe that's going to be good enough. Actually, I will get an idea from this again, how far down it goes. So let me see. It's hard to tell, right, beyond that slot thing there. But again, it's about a third of the card's length. So I think that's probably going to be fine. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to call this card. And I'm going to call this card A, and I'll give it an instance name of card A because we'll be making a bunch of them. So I'm going to call this the card. And what I'll do now is, let me see where I did the animation for this. Card and slot, so it's not on the root, it's inside the card. And I guess I've got another symbol there for the card and all of its graphics. So you can see I've got card A, all right, and I guess I didn't have to. Maybe I didn't have to. Yeah, because there. Okay, so right there, I've called it card A, but I've also included some of these graphics, so that's totally fine. So we'll go ahead and I'll move this back up to its approximate starting position. And I'm going to come into the card, and I'll call this body. And I'll go ahead and make some graphics on this. So grab the stroke. I'll come up to another layer just to... Nah, maybe I won't. I'll stay there. I'm going to scale this in a little bit. Okay, something like that. And I think I'll turn this into a stroke of 1. And maybe I'll do one more. Copy and paste in place. Maybe I'll fill that with black. Yeah, that's good enough. We're not going to do anything too crazy. I'm going to draw a big A in the middle here. I'm using impact, so I don't want it nice and big. Maybe even bigger than that. That's probably plenty big. Let's see. Not sure if I like the black, but we'll give it a try. So I want it to be visible as an A from its start position. So let me see. If I take this up a little bit, it'll be obvious. Even if you can't see the whole letter, I'll see a part of a B, part of a C, part of a D, and we'll figure it out. I just want to look at the starting position of that card. Yeah, you see the way it's just down. It's about maybe a 1/6 or a 1/7 of the size of the card. This is looking fine. Obviously, I have a slightly different graphic. You can spend more time on this, but that's going to be fine for this tutorial. All right, and so that would be my card, and I think well, let's just grab this and put it on the body. Just like that. And then I can turn this into an actions layer. I'll put a stop in the first frame. And let's see roughly how many frames my animation was. So I went out to frame 12. Okay. And all these other layers are really all these other pieces that aren't part of the card. So I'm doing this one a little bit different, but that's totally fine. So sure, I'll come out to frame 12. F5. I'll take this. I'm going to leave it there as a stop. Come down to that position, and this is going to be a motion tween. And let's see how far down we want her to go. Oh yeah, sorry, what am I doing here? I want that to be somewhere in that area, do I? Let me double check that. It's going to come down and end up around there. Let's give that a try. I'm going to do a test on this, so I'm going to say on press this dot go to and play frame 2 of its animation, and let's see what it looks like down to there, huh? Okay, I'm not crazy about that. What I may need to do is it's looking rather busy in there. I may decide that I want the card to come down that much. And, you know, and not be visible, you know, against this back sort of, you know, metal piece or whatever inside because of the positioning of this. I'm happy with that, but I don't think this will go down far enough, so I may take that back. So let me try a couple of different options versus maybe even lengthening the card. I actually don't mind that. Now that I think about it, I don't mind that. Look, I can always come back and make the card longer if I need to. And so I think we're good with that part right there. All right, so come out here. And that's what that would look like. At this point, unless I decided to put more design elements, I'm roughly ready to copy this over into the various spaces and get A, B, C, and D going here. So let me just look at what has to get copied over. And I see now why I put all of these things into that symbol so that I could easily copy it over. But really, it's not all that hard. Bracket back, bracket front. So what I'll do is I will just take all of these, right? All of these pieces here. And that should be everything I need. And I think I'm just going to grab it and drag it and put it roughly center. And then I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to do it one more time. Yeah, and then we'll have this issue, and then we can move stuff around, right? That's pretty cool. I may not like it going down that far. When I see them all together, I kind of want more of the card to show, but the first thing that I am going to want to do is to adjust the spacing of all this and make sure I don't overlap this way. And so what I'll start by doing is I'm just going to grab everything here and move it over till I'm happy with its position. I moved it over 3 there. Let's try this. Let's do that. 1, 2. Let me close that so I see that. What I sometimes do in cases like this is I just take a line and say I want to go from there to there. You know, and then I can see, okay, so that's that distance. Let's drag it over here. And okay, so that one's off a bit. Let me see what this distance is like. So that's pretty good. So it's kind of like this one here. I'm going to slide over to there. And then this one here, I'm going to slide over a bit. And then those are good. And then I'll just adjust everything. Okay, so let's bring this back, and that's going to be okay, I think, in the end. So what I'll do now is lock all that up, and I'll just look at these. I'll try it, and then we'll see what it looks like. Does that look relatively even? I mean, I could do this, and I think I will, just for the fun of it. I'm going to go on a different layer. I just want to measure out this distance here and see if it's close. That's not what I want to do. Yeah, that's the same distance right there, isn't it? Yeah, that one's different though. Right, that one's different. Okay, so what we'll do is I don't need that. I will do this. I'm going to take all of those, and if I can get these as well, I guess I can't. Get those. Okay, one or the other. Yeah, no, there's not going to be much that I can do about that, because if I move this over, it's going to hit the bolt. So let me see how I did this in the top. Give me a second. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. I am going to draw a line. I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to draw a line from here down. And I'm just going to try to line them up that way. You know, that kind of thing. Oops. I'll do another one here. Another one here. And I'm going to just see how far off I am. Okay. And if I just trust this, can I just trust this? Actually, what I wanted to be doing is that one's okay. I'll move this over to there. Yeah, I just think it's just tighter on the other side. That's all it is. It's tighter in here, but I've got that, and so I wouldn't need that anymore. And so it looks okay at that distance. That distance. Oh yeah, okay. This is starting to look all right. This is starting to look okay. Here's what I'll do. I'll grab this stuff, and I'll just center it in its zone a little bit better. And this stuff, I'm just going to touch over a little bit, okay? And that's just the way it is in order to fit. So, great. Let's now go to the card. Now, this is loader. Okay, this is going to be my loader. I'll come in here. I get card A to work. Let's go ahead and duplicate this and make this card B. And instance it as card B. Before we forget, let's do card C and D. Okay, let's go into this card here and mess with the letter. Yeah. Okay, and that's why I did that. Okay, so here's the thing. This is card A, but because we've got a motion tween and I didn't create a new symbol here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to call this card A front. All right, and this one is also going to be called card A front. Okay, I just need another symbol or graphic or whatever there. So I'll come in here and switch this. And then I can do the same for these ones. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to call this card B front. And I may actually go back and make these movie clip. I prefer that. And that's fine. And I'm going to grab this and call this card B front as well. Let me just come back and do the same for this. I like it as movie clip. Okay, so far so good. A, B. We'll come into this one, which is card C, but I'm going to call this card C front. Actually, let's do this. Does that change anything? Card C front. Change the letter. sure this back one here is the same. Oops, there we go. Swap it, card C front, and go into this one's card D, movie clip, card D front, win, make that a D, and make sure this other one out here is swapped for that. Card D front. I'll switch all these to movie, oops, sorry, movie clips. And I think we're good to go. Save it, test it. Very nice. Pretty easy to see these letters. One thing that I found, and this is why I did a little bit more work on this card. You see this stuff here. It makes it the dashes, whatever. I may do something like that. It makes it a little easier to see against this background of a lot of white and black lines. This one is just, it's, you know, looks nice there, but you know, when I put it down, it's just all lines, and you want a bit more texture in there. And so it's a little design detail, and personally I think it's going to look better. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back when I've made just a small change here. All right, well, this was just a very basic change. All I did is I went into this card here, all right, and I went into this card and I grabbed this stroke and I copied it onto another layer, and I just chose down here, this bottom one, made a stroke of 2, and it looks a bit better. All right, it's just a little bit easier to see. So what I'll do is I'll call this, I don't know, dash. I'll call it dash stroke, and I'll just copy this layer into the other cards. All right, so I'll show you. Come over to card B, and I'll go right inside card B here, and I'll paste those frames. I'll do the same on all the cards, and then I'll just give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more interesting to look at, a little bit easier to pick out the card against the background. There we go. Okay. Once again, still not super crazy about the top, but maybe it doesn't matter. In some ways I like it, in some ways I'm not sure. So that is what we got so far. And of course, we are going to actually make it so that the load button does that, causes them to move. So how about this? On press, or do I want it on release? Let's try on release. So on release, this dot go to and play root dot loader, I believe, dot card A dot, what am I doing? On release, root.loader.cardA.goto and play its animation. And I think I might need, let me just double check, see if any of that works. And then it pops back up, right? I don't think I want it exactly like that. So I'm going to go check that. But first of all, what I will do, though, is I am going to take the animations off this, get rid of the on presses for here, because we're not going to be using it there. We're going to be doing it from the load button. It's going to be a lot of fiddling around with code like this, testing stuff and then changing it and then editing it. And building it back up. So that's the way that's going to go. Let me just have a quick look over here at what I did and where I'm even going to find that load button. I bet the load buttons are separate. Yeah, they are. Okay. All right. So let's just check it out. This dot go to and play too. Oh, did I have a load of go to and play? I bet you I made it go around and come back. No, I didn't, eh? I just did that. It was done. Let's see. Yeah, and it stopped at its position. The original position is with the dot up, and its final position, I didn't make it come back or anything. So I just made it go once, and then of course it's disabled after that. Yeah, so I'm not doing it on release on that button. Okay, cool. So let's come back over here. And we're not doing that. But I believe I did this dot enabled equals false. I'll double check if that's where I put it so that they can only click it once and it's done its thing. All right, so I'm going to get these all set up. And I think for now I'm just going to copy this code to all the load buttons. And we will probably have to come back in and make various changes here and there. Although there's not much to do on these buttons here. So just changing them to the particular instance names of the cards that I've got. Yeah, don't put it on the card, put it on there. And that's card D. And so, can't click that once and it goes down. Looking great. Okay, so let's see what's coming up next. Okay, well at this point we have completed the construction of the loader device, and here it is. It's looking very similar, very sweet, very nice. I think we'll go ahead and work on this part, which is the card reader. And what exactly did I call that? I called that not the card reader. This is the analyzer. All right, so this is the body of the analyzer, and then we've got the card readers themselves are these things, the AccuView meters. So in order to create the analyzer, I'm actually just going to grab the base of the loader if I can, and I've got it there, right? It's a separate, okay, it's the graphic. All right, so I think what I'll do is I'll copy the whole thing down and delete. So let's do it this way. Put it underneath here. Paste in place. This is going to be the analyzer. It's going to analyze the cards. I'm going to start tapping it down. And I'm going to want to have the black part of this. This is why I was worrying about if it was too thick. Underneath here. And I'm going to call this analyzer. And for the moment, I'll call it analyzer, but I think I might need a different instance name. I'm now going to go in here and make sure I lock the body. I think I possibly could reuse stuff. Should I look? Should I look? There's nothing that I want. So I'm going to delete all of that. And I already have the nice base for my next part. I think I'm going to move it up a little bit though. Let's see, if I put it there, I want a little bit of white space. It's going to be tight in here. That's why I think I'm going to have to make this a little bit thinner. On the other hand, we can make the panel a little bit smaller up there. Let's just see how this works. See the way it goes over that? So I got to make sure that the card's going to go down far enough and fit into that little groove. So I may need to make these cards a little bit longer. If I extend them down to here a little bit more and then they go through, that may be a little tough. So we'll see, a little bit of a design element issue. Now, the card readers are not inside this symbol, they're on top of the symbol. All right, and so I'll go ahead and I'll do it that way as well. Straight edges, rectangular type thing. So let's do that. All right, so I've got my loader, analyzer. I'm going to come up here, go to there. Black stroke, I'll go with solid lines at 3 and a fill of white. And let's just see what happens here. How much room I've got? It's got to be wider than the card, first of all. Let's see what happens here. That's a good way of measuring up. Okay, not bad. The card will come down there. Okay, let's try bringing it up to there. Of course, I'm going to have a bit of a top on it, so I'm just going to go ahead then with that. Okay, I'll bring it back down. I'm going to zoom into it, and I will do my thing like this. I don't want it too extreme. Like that. Get rid of this piece and this piece. Just want to have a look. Obviously, I will move that up. And, okay, all right, well. Oh, I don't have my snap on anyhow. Okay, so far so good. Let's do some design elements on this. I'm going to need another screen here for my meter, and I'm going to need the bolts. So let's start. Let's not start. Let's put white in here. Okay. Maybe the best way to do this right now is to grab the back part of this, not too much, cut it off, paste it in place, and I'm going to convert this to a symbol, card reader. Okay, this is going to be card reader back. And this card reader front. In retrospect, I probably should have called it AccuView reader or whatever, or AccuView front. Okay, cool. And so let's try that and see if I got it right. Well, I'm going to have to move everything. Let's try this. Okay, kind of looks like it's dipping in there. Not super crazy about that yet. So let's try moving it a bit more. And ultimately, I may have to lengthen the card. All right, I mean, that does look like it goes in. It definitely looks like it goes in, especially if I do more here. And so what I'll do is I'm just on another layer for the moment. I'm going to try this roughly there. Okay. If I move that up a tiny bit, will that make much of a difference? Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to do a little bit of design on this. Let's do it on another layer, just to be sure. Actually, probably the easiest way to do this is to grab this stroke, copy it to another layer, thin it out, maybe 2. Let me just try a design aspect on this. Why did that not work? Let me see what that looks like. You know, like that. I needed to go deeper in, I think. And I'm not sure that that's the right pattern to when I'm using the card. And I don't think I like this stroke so intense. I'm just going to try various ideas here and see what they look like from a distance. That actually doesn't look too bad. On the other hand, I'm a little bit interested in just making this black and just trying that. Am I not able to do that, or are these not attached yet? I may not have anything in there. Okay, so that's on the other layer. Well, it's time to commit to something anyhow. Just want to see what that looks like. Yeah, I actually prefer it. Not crazy about the back yet. That's getting better. And I may not even need this stroke. Just get rid of all that and whatever weirdness is going on here. Boy, looks odd. Looks odd to me. Look, doesn't look straight, but that, I mean, you know, such a small detail. Something looks wrong here. So let me see if I can just play around with this a bit. That looks pretty good. I might just go with that. Okay, I'm still, you know, debating about increasing the size of the card and stuff. But okay, so what do I need on here? I need some bolts. So let's just do the bolts right now and get it start looking better. So this is, let's see, what have I got? All right, so let me just paste that down here. I don't think I need anything there. That's fine. That's weird. Okay, I'll call this body. Let's do bolts. Get a rough idea of the size of the bolts. Not too big. Let's make these 70. I don't care if they're even a little bit small. Now, still may not be that small. So we go there. Come down to about there. How's it looking? Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah. Okay, so far so good. And what other design elements do we need on that thing? Okay, we got the bolts. We're gonna need the yes, no. Oh, let's just go ahead and do a rectangle right in the middle for the view meter. So we got that. I'll come up here. Let's go white and black. Add a stroke of 2. You know, something like that. Let's see what we can do with this baby. And what kind of room we're going to need on the sides. I just need yes and no buttons. So I think I'll make this just a little bit narrower. Like that. maybe even a little narrower than that. Okay, this is going to be the view meter. I may change the name for that in a bit. But what I can do right now is I can grab, I believe we had a button, what was it called? Light on button? Yeah, that. I'm going to grab that and put it over here. And I'm going to change this to the yes and the no button. Okay, so duplicate. I'm just going to call this light. I'll come in here and get rid of this. I'll put text on another layer so I don't have to make another symbol. Let's get rid of that and that stuff. And I'll get rid of that. So I'll just have that. And drag that back in the middle. And I think I'll make it a little bit smaller. So I could have that one. I always do that. So I could have that one. And that one. Just reusing symbols. Okay, they seem a little small to me. Yeah, they are a little small. So I'm going to make them a bit bigger. I'll try 110 at first. And I believe we're just going to write yes and no. So these are the yes, no, light. I will actually have to do something with those. In fact, yeah, let's do this. Let's do some text here though. Yes. No. Now these are 12, right? So that might be too big for this, but we'll see. Might be a perfect size. Why am I having trouble here? Let's have a look at that. Yes and no. That's looking better all the time. Keeping in mind that the needle is going to be pointing in those directions. Okay, yeah, that's fine. These are actually going to have to do different colors. So I'm going to create an actions layer. I always like my actions and labels layered in capital. This is my kind of way. Stop. And I'm going to drag one over here. 5. And where's my body? That's the indent. And this is like the body of the light bulb. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make this green. Okay, and I'll do another layer, another frame here, and I'll come in here and I'll make it red. Oops, I didn't want the whole thing red, just that part red. And I have a feeling I do want to stroke around this. I don't care if I have to repeat this stroke every time. So that's all right. Let me just go ahead and put one in here, and we'll see if one or less. Yeah, one should work just fine. So I'll do that, and I'll do it on this frame as well, and I'll do it on the original as well, just to make it a bit bigger. So that would be that button. I now have the ability to turn it different colors, okay, when I need to. I'll call this yes button and no button. I'm not certain that I actually, I'll call it yes and no light to correspond with my layers. I'm not sure if this is the way that I'm going to be doing that, but we'll give it a try. All right, let's see what else we're going to have to do. Okay, let's do the indent of this screen and those little corners. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a bit. There's the view meter there, and you know what I want to do? I actually want to make it a bit smaller. Okay, I'll grab this. I'm going to come to another frame or another layer. Just makes it a little bit easier. Paste it in place and bring it out, but I will be changing the size of the stroke to 1. Expand it this way and this way. Okay, it's good enough because I can adjust, and then I'm going to cut like that. Not making it exact. I see. No, I'm on the text layer as well. Cut like that. That might be all right. Just that amount of stuff here. And I'm going to change these to a... I'll try that. Or maybe I may have left them in black, actually. I think I did leave them in black. Okay, let's just move things around a bit. Almost where I want them. Okay, they're visible. They are visible, and that's fine. Curves is what I like to call these guys. Now, do I need to do that indent? All right. So in order to do the indent, I'll probably have to move these curves out even more, and that's fine. I'll do it like this. Oh boy, I was being so precise before. Now I'm just big steps. That's fine. This is going to look even better. So let's do it. Curves are fine. View meter, I'm going to grab the body, and I'm going to come under the a new layer. Change it to my favorite light gray. Come down here and expand it a little bit. And what have I got going on? Oh, the body. I need the underneath the view meter, not the body, the whole body. I won't be able to see it. In which case, yeah, okay. That's probably not enough. For something so small, I'm going to have to go a bit more than that. See how that looks. Yeah, it just looks a little bit inset, but I've lost a bit of my stroke, apparently. Let's see if I got it back. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Now that is starting to look good. This is the indent. And I'll just move the bolts up higher. This seems like it makes more sense. Have another look. Okay. Not sure that I like the distance that the card is going down. I don't quite think it's going down far enough. Have a look up here. How close to the, it's very close to the top. It's already very close to the top. So again, it might be just that I need to lengthen the cards a little bit. Let's zoom out and have a look at where we are. And 50 minutes. Well, we'll do a little bit more work on this card reader. And what I'll do is I'm actually going to lengthen the body so I can get this text underneath down here. So it's a little bit short this way. So I don't want to ruin the top there. That should be fine. I'm just going to stretch this down, you know, like that. Let's have a look at that. Let's see what that looks like. All right, let's add a little bit more to this. Come up here to this text layer and grab one of these text boxes here, bring it down and center it. And this is called the AccuView. And I think I'll make that a little bit bigger. See how that looks. Okay, looks a little bit off center actually, tell you the truth. Even though, maybe it isn't. Okay, so we got that, and that's pretty much it, except for the actual meter inside. So I might leave that for the next video. Yeah, okay, so well, let's call it quits here, and then I'll come back in the next video and we'll draw the meter here and we'll get it animating. All right, so thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in part 3.